Hi, this is day 2 of 21 days of personal development, and this is the recording that I make every day after the Zoom chat has taken place, to give you the details, the things that we're doing for today. You're more than welcome to join the Zoom chat every single day. It takes place at 12 p.m. South African Standard Time, and the link is in the comments box, or not the comments box, the details box below. So please take a look at that, and you can join anytime that you'd like to. So let's crack on. I'm going to share the screen with you, and let's go. The computer seems to be particularly slow today. I am not entirely sure why. So if it does not go 100% smoothly today, that would be why. When we were on the Zoom chat, we were trying to figure out why we thought this might be the case, and it seems that a lot of people are, of course, using the internet and using Zoom, so that might be one of the reasons. We're not sure. So we're on day number 2, gentleness on ourselves, being patient with ourselves and being kind to ourselves. This is done by me, Linda Wright. I run Coaching 42 for You. I'm a life coach here in Cape Town, and it's a life coaching service for women, women like you, learning to grow so that you can blossom. We're going to be talking about things from the Bible today, and we're going to start with the very, very well-known verse or chapters in 1 Corinthians 13 about love, which most people do know about, and most people even possibly have this one memorized. We're going to be dealing with the first 2. As that verse explains, love is patient, love is kind. But now, if you're going to talk about what love is, it's relevant to also take a look at another verse in the Bible, which is Matthew 22, which says that the greatest commandment is, of course, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. And the second most important commandment is similar, to love your neighbor as you love yourself. In order to love our neighbor, we are asked to take a look at how we love ourselves. But in today's world, many of us have got the struggle that we don't actually necessarily love ourselves particularly well. So in looking at how can we be kind and patient with ourselves, I think it will be good for us to take a look at our self-talk, you know, the thoughts and things that we focus on in our minds. And so I'd like you to ask yourself this question. Do you talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend that you love? And sadly, many of us would answer that question with, no, not really. We talk to ourselves critically, we're hard on ourselves, we expect ourselves to get things right, we don't necessarily have gentleness towards ourselves, we don't have patience when we do something wrong, we maybe even say something to ourselves like, oh my goodness, that was so stupid, or how could I do that again, or whatever we say to ourselves. So I want to take us through a little exercise and work with me through this. It might seem a little bit strange at first, but the point of the exercise is just to evaluate how much control we have over what we think. So let's jump in. So I want you to think about growing older. This, for most of us ladies, is something that is a little bit stressful because we look different as we grow older. We start getting wrinkles. At the moment, my hair is going gray. I don't lose weight the way I used to when I was younger. If I put on weight, it tends to just sit around and doesn't like budging. So as we get older, we struggle sometimes with this as ladies because we wanted to look nice. I mean, we want to look nice for our husbands, for our friends. We want to be able to fit into the clothes that we have. One of the terrible things about getting older is that you no longer fit into pants or clothes that you had when you were younger, and it's quite a shock to the system that we're changing as we're getting older. So often, the whole idea about getting older, we are fairly negative about. So what language would you use to describe getting older? We often say things like, I don't look the same way as I did, which implies that we're saying we don't look as good as we did. We say things like, I can't fit into my clothes anymore, which we're basically saying we've put on some weight and we can't seem to budget to move it, to get rid of it again. We try to make jokes about it sometimes, but in general, the language that we use around it is critical of ourselves. It's not accepting of ourselves. It's not loving towards ourselves. It's not gentle, and it's not patient, because obviously, no matter who we are, we all get older. There is no way to not get older. It happens to every single one of us. It's one of the things that we can be sure of in life, is that we will one day die, and hopefully we won't die too soon, so we will get older. So the thoughts that we have about getting older and the beliefs that we have about getting older. For example, many of us believe that we should try very hard to fight the aging process, that we should moisturize and dye our hair and do exercise, and all of those things are or could be good, exercise especially, but many times we think these things because we think we're not good enough, we don't look nice enough anymore. So think a little bit about the thoughts that you have about getting older and the beliefs that you have about getting older. Now, after thinking about all of these depressing things, are you smiling? Are you happy with those thoughts? Thinking about the parts of your body that have changed, the gray hairs, does that fill you with happiness? Or does it fill you with a little bit of, I'm not so crazy about that? Or why do you think that is? Give it a little bit of thought, and let's go on. Now I want you to think about the fact. Does it make you feel blessed or depressed to get older? Most of us, our first response is, we don't want to get older. Of course not. Who wants to get older? It is, however, a privilege. Do you think that it's a privilege to live longer than the people that you've known throughout your life who have passed away younger? If we actually take a moment to think about that, we all have examples of that. People that we were in school with who passed away. People that were in youth groups with us that passed away. People that we've worked with that passed away. Family members, cousins, siblings. We all know people who have passed away who were our age or younger, who never got the chance to get the wrinkles by their eyes, who never got the chance to start not fitting into their clothes, who never got the chance to see grey hair in their own head. They never got that old. So if you ask yourself this question now, are you lucky or blessed to be living longer than those who have died younger than you are? When we start thinking about it like that, it's an easy answer. Of course we're more blessed. We're very blessed that we have survived this long, that we've that we've gotten this old, that we've had the privilege of another day on this planet, another year on this planet, that we've had the privilege to get old. It's a slightly different way of looking at it. And that's two different ways of looking at the same thing that we've just experienced together in the last few minutes. In the beginning, when I said, think about growing old, how does it make you feel? What do you think about it? Many of us would have had, oh, I don't want to, I don't like it, I wish I could still be young again, I wish I didn't have wrinkles, I wish. But when we put it like this, when we just change how we're looking at it, suddenly we start thinking, well, yes, of course I'm blessed. I'm extremely blessed to still be alive. Does this shift your thoughts about getting older? And why or why not? It shifts my thoughts about getting older. It shifts my thoughts to actually thinking about the people that I've known in my life who have passed away. It shifts my thoughts to thinking that some of them were very young. Some of them didn't get the opportunity to live longer. And they didn't get the opportunity to find out what grey hairs are like. I had no idea what grey hairs were like when I was younger. Grey hairs are very different. I've had the opportunity to see that now. I've had the opportunity to watch my friends get married, watch them have children, get to know their children, watch their children growing up. I've had the opportunity to see my cousins' children growing up, my brother's children growing up. I've had the privilege of seeing myself get married. The time that we have, even though it means that we get older, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful privilege. And all that we did there was shift the focus of how we were thinking about it. So I encourage you on this next question to think about how you can change your focus, how you can change the way that you're looking at something, the way that you're thinking about something. Let's take a look. Do you control your own thoughts? I think you do. Thoughts affect our emotions, they affect our attitude, they affect our beliefs, and we can change all of those. We can change our thoughts, we can change our beliefs, and by beliefs I mean things like believing that we're unlucky or believing that things always go badly for us. We can change those beliefs. We can change our attitude. With this coronavirus, in every direction, we see things that aren't particularly uplifting and are downright scary. But we can be very grateful that we weren't the very first or the second country in the world who had this pandemic happen to us. It's terrible, the things that have happened in some of the other countries, the thousands and thousands who've died. We're lucky that we can learn from them. We're lucky that we have a president and ministers in our government who have listened to all the advice and all the learnings that they could find out there in the world, and that they've tried to protect us. We're lucky that we are currently in summer. If we were trying to deal with this whole lockdown in the middle of winter, when so many townships have floods and the rain causes the emergency services to have to work hard just from normal accidents and normal things that they have to deal with, aren't we lucky that it's happening now in summer where we're not trying to deal with those things? And for that matter, aren't we lucky that God gave us rain, that our dams are pretty full at the moment, and we have got water in the country. If we look at it like that, we can think, praise God, He's given us so many things that are to our advantage in this crisis. This particular little saying here, my husband and I actually had up in our bedroom for a while. Then we replaced it with a verse that we really wanted to think about often. But it's a brilliant saying, and I think we'll put it up again because my husband turned 40 last year and I turned 40 in May this year. So we are at that point where we're like, wow, we're getting older. But it is a privilege. It's a great, great, great privilege. I have included, and I will continue to include in the notes, a daily calm and clarity and resilient practice. It's by Anna Runkle. For those of you who haven't managed to join us when we do the Zoom chat, those people have the opportunity to get these notes sent to them. Those of you who haven't joined that, go to Google and look up Anna Runkle and her daily practice. She provides this information free of charge on YouTube. She provides it. If you just Google it, you should also get it. I've made a summary of it here so that people can make use of it. And I'd encourage you to try to do some sort of prayer or meditation to help calm your mind, because this is a difficult time. I've included these for the people that got the notes, but I'd like to just come over here to this one for a moment, this triangle. There are 3 things that can help us when we're trying to deal with our emotions. They affect our emotions. The first is our physiology. Physiology is our bodies. When we smile, even if it's a forced smile, it helps us to actually affect what's happening in our brain. If we stand up straight, put our shoulders back, put our head up, those actions actually send a signal to our brain that things are okay. It's not foolproof. Obviously, when you are sad, you can't just snap out of it. I'm not suggesting that you can, but it can help a little bit. And each little bit helps to make you more able to deal with whatever you are going through, whatever we go through in the next few weeks, whatever we see on the news, whatever we see on social media. Try to smile at yourself every single time you go past a mirror. Every single time. Literally, stop and smile at yourself. It's a little thing that you can do to sort of give yourself a heads up, hey. And it sends that little message to your brain that things are okay. Smile at yourself just because you've got a mirror to look in. Smile at yourself just because you're inside. You're not outside right now. You're not in the rain. You're not freezing. You have a place to be in, a house to be in. Smile at yourself for those reasons. Smile at yourself because you probably have food in your cupboard. Smile at yourself because we are all staying inside, and it's hopefully going to do a big difference in how coronavirus spreads in the country. It's hopefully going to make it not spread too fast and make it hopefully not get to some areas of our country that might even be spared from this. And we really hope and pray that that is the case. So smile at yourself. Find a reason to. The second one is the language. The language that we use affects ourselves, our actual emotional state. So if you say the words, I think everything's going to be okay, I trust God, just saying that helps you, helps your whole being, your physical state, your emotional state to feel better. If you choose to use words that are uplifting, it will have an effect, a good, positive effect on your emotional state. It'll have a good, positive emotional effect on the people around you too, to be gentle and to try and stay hopeful, to try and remember the things that we can be grateful for, to use those thoughts in our actual words, in the way that we talk to ourselves, in the way that we talk to other people, and the people that we're in lockdown with, the people that we chat to on Facebook or on WhatsApp or on the telephone. Try to keep the language without being like in denial of anything that's happening, but try to be hopeful, because we still do have hope. Hope hasn't been cancelled. Neither has love. The third force is what we're speaking about today, the thoughts that we focus on, and how we try and move our thoughts to look at what we can actually be grateful for, and to look at it in a positive, if we can find a slightly more positive or great or grateful way that we can take a look at this. And there's a verse in the Bible, and I encourage you to go and look it up. It's Philippians 4 verse 8. It's also a very well-known verse. And I've actually used the words here. Choose to fill your mind with stuff that is good and it deserves praise. Things that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and honorable. And whatever version of Bible you read this from, it's a beautiful verse. So try to find a Bible or look it up online, Philippians 4 verse 8, and read it, and really try to do that. Really, really, really try to do that, to focus on those things, especially during this time that we're in. Thanks for taking a look at today's day 2 of these 21 days of personal development. I hope that they've helped you. And join us. You're more than welcome to every single day during this shutdown on Zoom at 12 p.m. noon in South African time. And the link is in the description below. Look after yourselves. Stay safe.